welcome to the Tennessee Golden Hour. My name is Matt Tullos.
And I'm Beth Moore.
And Beth, I heard that you finally got some PTO this past week.
I did. I was able to go visit some friends.
Fantastic. What's been happening in your world as far as compassion ministry? I understand you're getting a dental truck up and running.
We're working on it. So we have a few volunteer drivers that went through some training last week. So it was really exciting.
That's great. I have been working night and day on developing resources for the cooperative program Centennial.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to share a lot of the stories and testimonies that are going to be on the site. The site is actually up, although we're still putting stuff on the site. It's cp100.org. Love for you to check that out. And let's watch a little video that you'll actually find on the website.
Year after year, every day, lives all around the world are being impacted for eternity, all because of the cooperative program.
Prison ministry, international missionaries, missions education, disaster relief, camps and conference centers.
Here are just some of the ways we've advanced the gospel as an association of churches through the cooperative program. Let's look back. Throughout the 1920s, the Southern Baptist Convention grew to over 25,000 churches with almost 3 million members. But churches were inundated with requests for money to fuel missions, ministries, and organizations. So in 1925, at the Southern Baptist Convention in Memphis, Tennessee, convention leaders came up with a revolutionary idea. What if all Southern Baptist churches worked together to expand efforts to fulfill the Great Commission? And the cooperative program was born, the fuel for everything we do as Southern Baptists. And God blessed our cooperation. Over the past 100 years, Southern Baptist churches and believers witnessed the greatest and most strategic evangelism movement in the history of the church. Southern Baptist churches grew to over 46,000 with over 12 million members. We went from 227 international missionaries being appointed and fully funded to nearly 29,000 throughout these 100 years, with an average of 285 new appointees per year. And with 1 million other large and small strategies, initiatives, and ministries, Southern Baptists have been able to baptize new believers, feed the hungry, help the needy, take care of the widows and orphans, serve the poor, love the lonely, comfort those who are hurting, and show loving compassion to our neighbors. All because of the cooperative program. Why do we work together? Why do we sacrifice our resources? Why do we unite despite our diversity? Why do we engage our heads, hearts, and hands? It's simple. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Well, Matt, since I've kind of been out of pocket a little bit, I understand you had a great conversation recently. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, I did. I'm really excited to share this conversation with Brandon Porter. He's Vice President of Communications with the SBC Executive Committee. And Executive Committee, that's kind of a strange term for people not in the Baptist world and for some people who are in the Baptist world. He's the editor of the Baptist Press and, like I said, Vice President of Communications. He also served with the Kentucky Baptist Convention before coming to Nashville and as a small church pastor, as well as being an anchor for an ABC News affiliate. And so I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. And we begin by Brandon telling his story of how he came to know the Lord and how God has led him since.
The Lord saved me at 5 years old. I was very blessed to grow up in a Christian family, active in the local church all of my life. Became a Southern Baptist when I was a freshman in high school. That was the first time we attended a Southern Baptist church, and would go back and say that I felt called to ministry when I was 12 years old at a summer camp, and remember that very specifically, very vividly. And my calling, I didn't really feel necessarily called to preach. I felt called to make myself available to the Lord. And over the years, using the giftings that he's given me has looked different in different seasons of life. And so over the years, I've had the opportunity to serve as a senior pastor, a youth pastor, worship leader, a number of different roles in the local church. But as you mentioned a moment ago, I've also served in news radio. I was a TV anchor for a year on an ABC affiliate. And then, those things were kind of early, closer to college years. But when you do that, you become known in your local association or maybe to your state convention or just to your pastor friends around you as the guy who knows how to write a press release and how to, put a news story together and things like that. And so I was always asked to help with that. I have one of the things that drew me into the news world was, or into the broadcasting world, was news and current events. And obviously the convictions that we share together as Southern Baptists play a primary role in that. And so I've tried to use my voice over the years in the public policy realm to speak for life, marriage, religious liberty, those issues. And so that track of about 23 years of being a pastor, and then also always having this broadcast journalism track running beside it, the Lord brought that together in 2017 and allowed me the opportunity to go serve at the Kentucky Baptist Convention, and eventually became the communications director there. And then that is what led to being here at the Executive Committee.
Speak to me as a pastor who may not have ever been in the Southern Baptist Convention. I'm coming into this church that's Southern Baptist, and I'm trying to understand what the Executive Committee does. What is the Executive Committee?
So the Executive Committee carries out the business of the Southern Baptist Convention in the 363 days that the convention itself is not gathered. So 2 days a year, we meet together as a convention in various cities, usually in the month of June, and we carry out the business. We hear about the initiatives, we hear about the work of the entities, we hear about fundraising and how the funding through the cooperative program is going, and then we make decisions on how to carry that forward. The Executive Committee supports that work the remainder of the year. We have around $190 million that flow through the cooperative program annually. Someone needs to make sure that money is accounted for and that it gets to the place where the messengers want it to go. Well, that's where the Executive Committee comes in. We have 5 or 6 ministry tasks. One of them is accounting for and allocating that CP money so it gets where the messengers want it to go. Baptist Press is another one of those ministry assignments we have. Cooperative program, education, promotion on a national level is a responsibility that we have, and we have several others as well. Now, an important thing to remember about the Executive Committee is that there are really 2 levels to the Executive Committee when you think about that. And so on one hand, the Executive Committee is a committee. It's about 86 folks who gather from across the country. There is a mixture between Southern Baptist pastors and Southern Baptist lay people who are sent our way to serve on the Executive Committee. All of those members have to be affirmed or approved by the messengers at the annual meeting, so we don't get to choose our own committee members. The messengers approve those and send them our way. And so that committee gathers together 3 times a year, February, June, and September, and they continue on this business that the convention, the messengers have told them to carry out. But then there's also a staff, and that's what I'm a part of. There are about 21 of us on staff at the Executive Committee, and it's our day-to-day responsibility to make sure. So, like, for instance, I mentioned Baptist Press. So that's a ministry task. It's the committee's job to make sure that Baptist Press is moving forward in a way that the convention would be happy with. It's my job to make sure day by day by day that morning and afternoon email is going out and that we have fair and accurate stories that are, newsworthy, that they are feature worthy, that are sharing the story of how God is at work through the Southern Baptist Convention.
What are some of the changes that you've seen over the past 3 years?
Yeah, so we've had significant change, as folks are aware, in our executive leadership over the last 3 years. Dr. Ronnie Floyd was who hired me to come here to serve at the Executive Committee, and he's no longer with us. Dr. Jeff Ward has come on, and he is now the president, CEO. So we've had change that's come there. We've had, as a result of some financial ups and downs that we've had over the last 3 years. Sadly, we had to let some staff go a few years ago because of budget cuts. And so the staff has decreased, and we've had to learn how to try to continue to serve Southern Baptist as well as we possibly could with fewer hands on deck. And so I would say that that's definitely one of the changes that has impacted us. But I'll tell you what, that the passion and the dedication of our staff to serve Southern Baptist and to see the cause of Christ carried forward, to see the strengthening of the local church and to see those CP dollars get where folks want cooperative programs to go, that has not changed. And so just the passion to move forward and to accomplish what God's called us to accomplish, that has remained the same through this time.
Well, we're really excited about Dr. Ward. Talk a little bit about his leadership, how he's reinvigorated your team.
Yeah, I think he's helped us with focus. He talks a lot about the mission being the main thing and to be focused on the mission, to not lose track of the mission. And so I think that has been a great motivation to the executive committee staff. I think in our perhaps in our head and our hearts, we have never wavered from that. But maybe Dr. Orge has come along and given us the freedom and given us the just the encouragement to ask some questions about processes and the ways we do things, and moving forward to streamline things to try to do the best we can to carry that mission forward.
What are some of the things that you've learned about changes? You've been through these monumental changes for a number of years.
So at our church in Bowling Green, we're working through a sermon series in Ecclesiastes. And I've thought a lot about the EC during this sermon series in Ecclesiastes. And I think, first of all, you have to just you just have to realize change is going to come, that is certain change is going to come. The seasons are not going to last forever. And so when it just feels like a really difficult, hard season, it's not going to be that way forever. It may be different than it used to be when you come out of that season, but things are going to change as we go forward. I think the value of team has continued to grow and just be a great value to me as I think about the folks who are serving here at the EC and the great privilege it is to serve with them. The last 3.5 years have been hard at the executive committee, and the folks who are here want to be here. They have a passion for the work that God has called them to do and the place where he's put them to do that work. And so that is greatly motivating, and it's encouraging when you look around at your fellow employees who are also your brothers and sisters in Christ. And we are striving together to do our very best to move forward this great commission cause that God has given us.
So lots of Tennesseans heading west in June. What can we expect from Dallas?
We're really excited about Dallas, the opportunities that we have to celebrate CP 100 there. And so let me tell you a few of the things that we're going to do to try to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the cooperative program while we're there. So the first thing that comes to mind is that we're going to take some time on Tuesday afternoon, I believe it is, of the annual meeting. And we have a specific window where we're going to be celebrating the 100 years that God has given us, the 100 years where he's been faithful with the cooperative program. So make sure to mark that time to be in the main hall there Tuesday afternoon. And we'll have more specifics on that a little bit closer to it of that exact time. But there's going to be about a 15-minute window there where we just celebrate and we pray and a thanksgiving prayers to God of how he's been good to us. But we're also going to pray for the future, that God would continue to help us move forward in this partnership and to direct us in that. A second thing is our booth in the exhibit hall. And so we're doing some things a little bit different this year than we have done in the past in the CP booth. We kind of have 3 different sections in that booth. And so one of those sections, maybe you've watched some of our videos that we've produced, that they've been called vision forums, they've been called CP stage, things like that. This year we're taking those and we're going to do our best to record them into a video format, but primarily they're going to be more that podcasty kind of style, to where Lawrence Smith from Kentucky, the communications director there, is going to come and he's going to host 8 or 10 podcasts for us about the value of the cooperative program. And then after the annual meeting, we will be posting those and sharing those out with folks. And so you can pass by and watch them as they're recording those and capturing that in real time at the annual meeting. The middle section of that CP booth, we're giving over and partnering to our good friend, Dr. Taffy Hall at the Southern Baptist Historical Library and Archives. And she is hard at work right now pulling out some artifacts that are significant in the history of the cooperative program. And so she's going to be bringing some milestones with her, some things that we can put into a case, and she'll be available to show those to you, to talk to you about them, to ask any questions that you may have. And she's just a wealth of knowledge about the 100 years. So she is so fun to talk to. And so I would encourage folks to swing by there and to talk to Dr. Hall in the booth. And then the last section of our CP booth, this is kind of fun. We've not done this before as far as we know, but we're trying to create a little video area where folks can come and they can record, a 60-second, 90-second video of what does CP mean to me. And our hope is that we're going to be able to capture that and that we will be able to get that to you immediately so that you could share that on your social media if you would like to do that. And then we're going to hold on to that and we're going to use those throughout the year so that folks can know, just like that very first question you asked for me, not only the ministry journey, but cooperative program plays such an important part in my ministry journey as well. And so we're going to let Southern Baptists tell their story of how the Lord has blessed them through the cooperative program.
What are some ways that pastors can promote or just get the word out about CP and why they should make that a part of their church budget?
Yeah. So I think there are several things that I would say. First of all, in churches of all sizes where I have the opportunity to go and speak, everybody has screens now, right?
Right.
Everybody has access. And so I know that you are doing a faithful and great job of creating resources for churches to be able to use on their social media platforms, in their worship service, just making it available in different times, even for folks to show a video that gives you the opportunity. And these videos are real, whether it's coming from, you all there in Tennessee, or whether it's something that the International Mission Board has made or North American Mission Board. They've not gone out and hired paid actors to do this. These are real missionaries, real disaster relief workers, real church planters who are doing the work God's called them to do. And it's through that church's faithful giving through the cooperative program that they are able to do that. And so, you can show those videos and allow people to see that and to be aware. We have a resource at our website, sbc.net/CP, where you can find a bulletin insert that you can print and you can use there called 52 Sundays. And it tells different stories throughout the year of how the Lord is faithful through the cooperative program. And then I think, just a creative way for the pastor is, think about your folks. Think about how God has equipped and called your church. Some churches, they seem stronger when it comes to international missions. Some churches, they are stronger when it comes to disaster relief. Find the areas that are going to really energize and speak to your church, and take a few minutes and sit down and write 2 or 3 sentences that just talk about, because of your giving through the cooperative program, because our giving through the cooperative program as a church, we're able to do this right here. And, so I know you have those resources available on your website. We have them available at the SBC site where folks could find that, but also through our Baptist Press stories. I mean, we really work hard to shine the light on how Southern Baptists are at work. And again, to go back to those videos, the stories that we share through Baptist Press on missions, church planning, disaster relief, chaplains, over and over and over, the cooperative program plays just an integral role in those things. And so you could print off, or share electronically through your social media platform, a Baptist Press story, or you could just draw out 2 or 3 sentences. Did you know this week this happened in the world somewhere? And it's because of our giving through the cooperative program that we were able to be a part of that. Aren't you glad that we're able to make an impact, not only here in our church and our community, but, where a storm came into the Appalachian Mountains and just caused devastation, or has taken the gospel somewhere where, it's an unreached, unengaged people group.
It's so easy to forget that while we're worshiping on Sunday morning, there's a bunch of missionaries who are asleep, getting ready for or recovering from worship.
That's right.
And evangelism. And so thankful for them. One final question that I want to ask. You've done such a great job leading us so well in cooperative program communications. What's your prayer for the SBC in the coming year?
I pray that we continue to cooperate. We see on social media, we see in private conversations and public conversations, there's just a tendency to doubt and to mistrust that can lead to division. And I pray that we continue to lean into our cooperation. I was with a group of folks who are leaders across the country earlier this week in state convention work. And we were just talking about the importance of getting on the phone with one another, the importance of getting on the phone with local pastors when there is a question, when you just want to clarify something that's happened there. And someone in the room said, that's a great reminder for us to remember to pick up the phone and make a call and clarify something. And so I think that's something that I think about when I was a pastor and wrestled with, we're never going to be able to do this. We have folks in our church who are interested in doing whatever, being a part of a church plant in New York City. And we lived in rural South Central Kentucky and we're serving there. And we could never do that by ourselves. Who would partner with us? And that was in the early days of the Sin Network. And so there was an opportunity there to join in and to be a part of that. And so that partnership, not just in, sort of this division and unity and things like that, but in carrying out the mission is to lock arms together. And I just pray that we are reminded that we have given ourselves to this cooperation here. The cooperative program is our dollars. There's no doubt about it. It is our dollars coming together, but there's also a spirit behind it. And it's a spirit of leaning in and of cooperating together for this cause.
One of the greatest parts of what we do at Southern Baptist many times, as far as events, is seeing those missionaries be commissioned. And your church, even though it's not a mega church, right? Had an opportunity to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're one of those churches you mentioned of 60 or so folks on Sunday morning. And so we had the opportunity to watch this young couple in their 20s who God had called both of them to missions before they were married. They actually met through an IMB program where they were serving together, and the relationship built there, and they got married and then began down the road of becoming IMB missionaries as a married couple. And it was just it was something to see them stand behind that white screen last year in Indianapolis, knowing that we had been in their home, they'd been in our home, that we'd walked through this process with them and how the Lord had guided them, and even our church, how that impacted our church, and coming alongside and being the sending church for them, and how that had been a blessing to us. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the, that again, to go back, the folks, I'll just speak for me. I'm not a paid spokesperson who is just coming in to shoot the video or whatever, I use the product, if you will. And so I get the opportunity to see the Lord just work in just such gracious ways through this partnership that we have together.
And I heard you're in meetings that I'm not in, but I actually heard that we have quite the waiting list of people who are ready to go overseas.
You do.
But we're just waiting for churches to fund them. Isn't that correct?
That's fantastic. It is. The pipeline, one of the things that Dr. Chitwood wanted to do when he came into that leadership role at the IMB was to grow that pipeline. And it is ahead. It is, it's over 1,500. I know it's maybe even starting to close in on 1,600 folks who are coming through the process to go out onto the field. And so, it is exciting. God is calling people. He is sending people. And I hope that we'll all do our part in stepping in there and providing the resources so that they can be faithful.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if we went from the 3,000s to the 4,000s?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic.
Love it.
Such a blessing.
Well, thank you so much, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for all you all are doing. We're so thankful to partner with you.